So today, Naoya Inoue had his 22nd world title fight, unbeaten in all of them. Defended his undisputed super bantamweight world title, which he won in near record time. What, 5 months between winning his first two titles and then unifying? Defended it against Lewis Neary. I believe he might even have one more fight at 122 pounds against the IBF mandatory, if I'm not mistaken. Naoya Inoue is a fighter who I somewhat feel he doesn't get the appreciation, because this guy is he kind of reminds me a little bit of Alexander Usyk in one sense, where Usyk is more a kind of guy where he'll go to the guy's backyard a lot of the time. Naoya Inoue is fighting in Japan, and these fighters are happy to go there because they're making good money fighting them in Japan. And if you look at these cards in Japan, what do you notice about them? They're actually quite fair. From officiating, from scorecards, they're very fair. Like, you look at these cards in Japan and you're like, there's not really any shenanigans going on. That's, you could look at and question it. It looks all above board, very fair. So Naoya, what he's doing, he's moving up in these weights. He's not just looking for an easy touch. He's going for tough champions. He is. And when I look at Naoya Inoue, I'll bring up his box rec now in a sec. That's all it's been. When he turned over pro, now he turned pro, I think it was 2013, if I'm not mistaken. I remember, you can read it on his Wikipedia page, one of the kind of clause he had when he turned over was that he shouldn't take easy fights, or that he won't take easy fights. And when you look at Naoya Inoue and you look at this record, it really does speak volume. It genuinely really does. He won his first world title in 2014. That was at 108 pounds. He defended that title once, and that was the WBC light flyweight title. And then he moves up 2 weight divisions, and he did this all in the space of a year. He won his first world title in April of 2014, and he became super flyweight champion in December of that year. He beat Omar Navarez. Now, Navarez was 43-1 going into that fight. He was a long reigning champion. This wasn't like, you're going up and you're looking and thinking, who's there for the taking? Who's an easy champion that I could, swipe that title off? Look at me, I'm world champion. No, he went in there and he fought a long reign champion. Knocked him out in 2 rounds. Go and watch that fight. It was devastating. Naoya Inoue was on the shelf for a year after that fight because he actually hurt his hand in it. Then he went on to defend his world title in several fights, and they were good fights. They were very, very good fights. And he couldn't really get the unifications. He did fight in America on one of those Superfly shows. I think it was the Chocolatito Run Versailles rematch. I think that was the show he fought on. That was a great show. That was absolutely phenomenal. If you've never seen that whole show, it had Quadras versus Estrada. It had Naoya Inoue, and then it had Run Versailles knocking out. I still hate looking at that knockout, but yes, he knocked Chocolatito out in 4 rounds devastatingly. It was a great show. Really was. It was brilliant. He moves up to bantamweight, fights Jamie McDonnell. And a lot of people actually, because Jamie McDonnell is not seen as a particularly, he was okay. But, going up to bantamweight against a much bigger guy. And then he goes, fights Carlos Payal. I think that was in the World Boxing Super Series. Unifies with Emmanuel Rodriguez, beats Nonito Donaire. That was a great fight. Wins the World Boxing Super Series. Fights Jason Maloney, makes a couple of defenses. Then he rematches Nonito Donaire again and becomes undisputed champion. And that was a hard fight to watch because I'm a big fan of Nonito Donaire, as you know, and seeing him go down in 2 rounds was not easy. He became actually undisputed against Paul Butler, of all people. Originally, it was meant to be Casimero. Casimero was meant to fight Paul Butler, but Casimero, I think he missed weight or he had issues. There was a lot of things with Casimero. He's a bit of a train wreck. Anyway, Paul Butler became champion, and he came to just give it survive. And, they acted like getting stopped in 11 rounds was some sort of an achievement. It wasn't at all. And now we have him at 122 pounds, and Fulton, Marlon Tapalas, Lewis Neary. Look at this resume. Naoya Inoue is absolutely fantastic. He has such an entertaining style. I was listening to Dell's video on this Blue Collar Sport, and he was saying that in his last, 47 boxing rounds. Bear in mind, he doesn't go many rounds, but his last 47 rounds, the first round of which he got dropped by Lewis Neary was the first round he'd been outlanded. Offensively, Naoya Inoue and Subriel Mateus are two of my favourite fighters to watch. Offensively, they're both offensive juggernauts, but they're both offensive in very different ways. Mateus is more volume, wear you down, throws a lot of arm punches, but there is big power behind them. And he's tremendously fun to watch. Inoue, it's speed, accuracy, precision, and there's loads of power in those shots. He's just so fast and good with his shots. He does make mistakes, but the power is such that these guys can't actually do anything with it. They're struggling to counter him because of the speed, the accuracy, and the power of the shots, that these guys end up getting broken down systematically over the course of a fight, and then not just taken out, brutally taken out. I can't not look at Inoue and think this guy is a star. He is a star in his own Japan, but across the world, this guy is what you want in a fighter. He goes, he looks for the hardest fights. He wants to unify at the first available opportunity. Anybody in the division who they say, oh, well, you haven't fought him. Before I go, I'll fight him. And he's doing it. This is what you want in a fighter. He's absolutely tremendous. But as the title says, he is also a very, very bad man. Because this is a guy where I remember when he fought Rodriguez in Glasgow. And I think Rodriguez made a comment about Inoue's dad, and he looked peeved off. And you saw what he did. Yeah, I mean, that was brutal. Absolutely brutal. This is a guy who, he has the look of someone he has the look of someone, even though, like, obviously you wouldn't understand him. I don't think he speaks any English, but he's the look of a kind of guy you'd want to be mates with. You know, he just seems like a nice, cool guy. And then the minute those gloves go on, it's like, boom, switch is flipped. Don't be around this guy, get out of the way, because he is going to hurt you. And when you see him in the ring, even when the opponent is hitting him, even when the opponent he's thinking, right, I'm landing, he has that big smile, that little movement, to say, you haven't done anything, and he's back on it. It's honestly, I can't sing the praises of Naoya Inoue enough. As I've always said in the channel, I don't do pound for pound. I don't. I find it very subjective, very abstract concept. It's not something for me. So whenever someone asks me for my pound for pound, I always say, look, I don't do it. It's just not for me. I don't do it. He is one of the top 3 fighters in the world. He is easily one of the top 3 fighters in the world. Crawford will be in that, top 3. And then you could really argue, is it Canelo? Is it Usyk? Leave that up to people to debate. But Inoue is up there. Certainly is. And I'm looking forward to seeing his next fight. I'm hoping he'll get another fight in before the end of the year, which he should. He most likely will. And seeing what he does next year. At the end of the day, he's 31 years old. He'll be 32 next year. In those lower weight divisions, you don't tend to have the longevity as you would at a heavyweight. If he was a heavyweight doing this, well, one, he'd be just known the world over. He was a heavyweight and doing this. It's unfortunate, but it is the way. A heavyweight will always get more acclaim and will always be more well known than the lighter weights. It's just the way it is. As good and fun, as entertaining as Inoue is, people like heavyweights. I love heavyweights. We all love heavyweights. The majority love heavyweights, I should say. If he was a heavyweight and he was 31 doing all this, we'd probably say he's got about 5-6 years left, maybe more. A super bantam, seriously, maybe 3-4, if even. Maybe I'm being generous with that. So enjoy him while we have him. And let's see what happens next. This guy is something else to watch. He really, truly is. Naoya Inoue, Subriel Mateus, Terence Crawford, those 3 would probably be some. I would put a prime Deontay Wilder in there as well. We don't have him anymore, so I'm not going to put him in there. But those 4, some of my favourites to watch. Unbelievable to watch. Inoue is just, brilliant. I look forward to seeing what he does next. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. Peace.